I'm not shaking hands with any CEOs until they do right by our members and we fix the broken status quo at the Big Three.
If you're not with us, then get out the way.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
The UAW, we've been talking about new leadership in the Teamsters. We talked about the UAW with Teddy. And the Teamsters are not the only ones with fresh blood. You've also got the UAW, who began bargaining with the Big Three last week. Their international elections, the first ever in the history of the union, resulted in a clean slate for the reformers, who were backed by Unite All Workers for Democracy, the Reform Caucus, and the UAW. And like I said, they began bargaining with the Big Three last week. And traditionally, that bargaining began with a handshake with the companies, if you can imagine such a thing. This big ceremonial thing, there's all the press, a bunch of pictures, and there's all, just rubbing elbows with the bosses that you're going to be bargaining across the table from in a, hopefully an adversarial way. So that's how negotiations have started for decades. This time, it started with what they're calling a members handshake. And Shawn Fain said that he will not shake hands with an executive from the Big Three until they do right by his members. I think that's exactly the right posture to take towards this kind of stuff. And of course, this is a symbolic gesture, not shaking hands with the CEOs, shaking hands with the members. That is not going to put money in the pockets of the members, but it is indicative of a new direction that the UAW is going in, and one that I believe will result in better for the members and better for working folks in America. And it is a strategy that has historically resulted in wins for the members of the unions that engaged in that strategy and for working people writ large. So here's a promotional video that the union cut from the members' handshake. Let's play that.
Good to see you, brother. You ready for this?
Myself and members of the International Executive Board will be kicking off negotiations in a whole new way by shaking hands with the members.
You all right?
Stephanie Williams, just wanted to say hi.
Oh, yeah.
We want to hear from working members. We want to take your message straight to the bargaining table.
My big issue, the cost of living.
You bet.
Pension for the guys that
Retirement
get rid of the
security,
tiers. Get rid of the tiers.
You bet.
In a break with tradition, there won't be no public handshake ceremony with the companies. I'm not shaking hands with any CEOs until they do right by our members and we fix the broken status quo at the Big Three.
If you're not with us, then get out the way. So we're marching forward, right?
Yeah, you're damn right.
The members have to come first. That's just one of the many changes we're making in order to win a historic victory at the Big Three. We're changing how we negotiate, we're changing how we organize, how we fight, and how we win.
Really great stuff there, and important posture to take into the negotiations as they fight to end tiers, as they fight to bring wages up, as they fight to ensure that the transition to electric vehicles is one that is just and that maintains a quality of life for the people who create those electric vehicles. It's very important, and it's also important to understand that Stellantis alone has made $250 billion over the last decade, $29 billion in the last year alone, and that they can absolutely afford to pay their workers what they're worth. So when they come to you crying poor, it's important not to believe it, and it's also important not to buy. I was on Dale Jackson's show earlier this week, and he said, quote unquote, the unions is what led to the decimation of the auto industry because they asked for too much. Are they going to ask for too much this time? And it's just important to understand how silly that is, because one of the reasons that a reform group was able to win the UAW is because of corruption at the top of the UAW. And people talk about corruption and people talk about quote unquote union corruption, but they never really talk about exactly what it was that happened. What was the corruption? The corruption was allowing the companies to was being in the pocket of the executives illegally, taking bribes, selling their members out. That's the corruption that we're talking about here. So the idea that these people who were on the one hand prosecuted for illegally selling out their members were on the other hand asking for so much for their members that they bankrupted the auto industry. It's just a silly thing to believe. And so, you know, it's important that you put that to bed. And so I'm looking forward to seeing what the big three, what the negotiations with the big three, how they turn out. Obviously supporting the UAW and wishing them a fair contract.
You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.